All right. Hey, everybody. What's up? It's Victoria with the Juice, Rise, and Shine. Um, as I've mentioned in my previous interviews, we are doing a segment on unstoppable women that are living in their purpose and pursuing their purpose. Today, I have with me the beautiful Naeve Duarte.
Thank you.
And she is a recent college graduate. Congratulations
Thank
to
you. Thank you.
her. She's also going to be a published author of a book. But the main thing that I want to talk to her today about is her social activism that she's doing.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You mentioned a lot about kids and how much you love kids, and I can see that. So, what is the biggest thing that you would want little kids to know, either about you or it could be a piece of advice that you would tell them?
I think a piece of advice would be the most useful, but I would say, and this probably will go for my little cousins too, that when the world tries to label you as something, like you have to find who you are and take who you are and who you know that you are, and that be who you true, and that be your character, and that be a testament of everything that you would do afterwards. Because the world's going to try and put labels on you and title you.
Absolutely.
And they're going to try to judge you. They're going to try and tear you down. And miserable people like seeing other people miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So in this world filled with chaos, be the core and be the eye of a hurricane.
An eye of a hurricane. I love that. Dude, she kind of threw in some poetry in there already. Oh, no, I love that. Absolutely.
The reason why I actually got into my sports administration program is because I wanted in the future be able to create my own athletic agency so where I can start recruitment in Nicaragua and bring like young children, bring them to camps and provide opportunities of higher education for them in the future.
Okay.
So there's like a method behind my madness of why I'm like in sports admin and then doing completely other different things, but it's because all of it I wanted to tailor in, helping the people that come from where I come from. Me being first generation Nicaraguan to American, I take a lot of pride in it, and it just shows like every single thing that my ancestors have sacrificed, has led up to me being able to walk across the stage, and that means a lot to me. My great grandmother, even being alive right now, to be able to say like, wow, like someone who, because she had a really rough life, like she can sit here and say, my grandchildren or my grandchild is a graduate and like is going to go back and help people in our country. And that's what I really, really want to do. I want to help people all over the world, but I definitely really, really, really want to help people from my country, especially being it's a third world country,
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't have a lot of resources, and our economy is not up to par like everyone else. So being able to provide that connection from America to Nicaragua and start providing athletic opportunities and even artistic opportunities for kids who are interested. Like, that is what I really want to do.
Interesting. So I love how you're phasing into my next question. So what do you feel like your purpose here is? Like, what do you truly feel like your purpose is?
To help and to serve. In every aspect, whether it be spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. I feel like the more that I give into myself and pour into myself, the more that I'm able to pour into other people.
Of course, everyone says your cup has to be full in order to help other people.
Exactly. And, both of my parents are immigrants. My dad swam across the Gulf when he was 7 years old. Literally swam across the Gulf.
I was about to start laughing because I thought, people use it as a term, but you mean literally.
No, literally. My parents being immigrants, I saw them go through a lot of things. My mom had me at 17, so we were growing up together. You know what I mean? So I saw her go through a lot of struggles. I saw my dad, fall victim to the criminal justice system. And I saw a lot of things growing up between my parents and them being not American citizens. Like, they really made it happen here.
Wow.
So, and that's because, like, my grandparents, like, they really took pride in, like, putting a roof over their kid's head and, like, working hard.
Yeah.
But then when my mom was, like, coming up, she was just like, I don't want you to just work hard. Like, I want you to live a life.
Yes.
And now it's like I have the opportunity and the luxury of growing up, being an American, born and raised, student athlete. Like, I can provide opportunities to people like my mom and my dad. My dad played sports his whole life, couldn't pursue it in college. My mom was an artist, was a fashion designer, went to school for fashion, but couldn't pursue it because she had to get a real job to take care of me.
You, yeah.
So it's like they sacrifice their dreams, you know, to be able to create opportunities. And it's like I have the opportunity now to create opportunities for other people.
And now you're making it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. Really, that's cool. Now, since you've been on this journey, and I'm gonna say recently, when did you figure out that you like what your purpose was? Like, how old were you when you say you realized that?
So I met my first love when I was 12,
Mm-hmm.
and we were together for 2 years until she passed away. And when I met her, she would always tell me like, that basketball that you're so in love with is gonna take you so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't believe her.
Right.
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? She said, you can go to college. You could get a job. You could have a life. And I'm like, no college is going to pick someone up like me. Like, not in this neighborhood, not where we come from, not in this school, not with my grades, not with my mentality. Like, I would talk so negatively about myself because my whole life, people were telling me that you're this and that you're that, or you're not good enough, or you're this. Yeah. Especially like, you know, I love my dad to death, but his family wasn't the most supportive, you know, and especially his mother, like she, you know, unfortunately she wasn't the best influence in his life, and she kind of projected all that onto me as well. And she'd say, you're gonna be nothing but a prostitute when you grow up, or you're not gonna be nothing.
Damn, that blunt?
Yeah, because she kind of was. Okay. You know, for the better.
Okay.
But it was like in the moment, it felt like my whole world was crashing down on me. Yeah. Because I came out about my sexuality. Yeah. Because of it, I came out about my sexual assault. Yeah. And then I was starting to realize that maybe this basketball could do something for me.
Okay. So was it you realized your purpose at that time when all that was coming out, or after your first love passed?
After she passed away is when it really, it
sunk in.
Flicked for me, because when she passed away, I thought she was going to be in my life forever.
Of course.
You know, like death was real. You know, I didn't think that she would just die. So, especially, you know, like seeing her take her last breath is what always used to replay in my brain. And like, after she passed away, I was like, I owe it to not only myself, but I owe it to her to follow my dreams, to bounce this ball as far as I can and as long as I can, and create as many opportunities as I can with it, because she saw something in me before I even saw it. And this little basketball has opened the doors for me to be able to provide opportunities for other people. Yeah. So that's when I knew, like, my purpose. I used to think it was basketball. Yeah. My purpose wasn't basketball. My purpose was to use basketball as a tool to help other people.
Wow. And so when did you discover you realized that it's a tool to help other people? How old were you when you realized that?
I think like when I entered my freshman year of college, and then freshman year of college, this is my first time experiencing life by myself, having to create an identity for myself, having to, you know, step into this world and like say, okay, who am I? Yeah. And what do I really want to do? Yeah. And I realized that I wanted to go play overseas. Okay. I wanted to play overseas because I knew that I would be able to hold a platform where I can help children. Okay. And I can help kids from marginalized communities and impoverished communities, and create camps and create, you know, a scholarship program that could give money to kids. Even it might not be the $400,000 that'll cover your 4-year university, but it's something that can help you, something that you didn't have before. It's something that I wish I would have had.
Absolutely.
So I think my freshman year of college, I realized, all right, the goal is to go overseas. And if that isn't possible, I'm still going to use basketball as a tool to help other people.
Okay. So since your freshman year of college, what is one thing that has solidified your actual purpose? Like now it's like, I know this is exactly what I'm doing. Is there been like an incident?
Yeah, my aunt passed away my sophomore year of college.
Oh, wow.
Giselle. So my first love's name was Giselle.
And your aunt's name is Giselle. Don't get it twisted, people. You know,
it's spelled differently.
There's two.
She was my best friend, and she got diagnosed with leukemia. Wow. My sophomore year. She'd never been sick before in her life. I think I can count on my hands how many times I actually saw her sick with like a flu. Like, she never got sick. She was always so happy. Like, wow. She was literally like an angel. And whenever I was doubting myself in basketball in college, Cause we all go through those moments where we're like, we don't think we're good enough anymore.
Of course.
You know, or we play really bad in practice, or coach yells at you, or like you go into these different forms of like abuse sometimes in college too that people don't like to talk about, but you have to kind of find a way to be strong and like stabilize yourself, and Giselle was my anchor.
Okay.
So when she passed away, it hit me. Well, again, I only got like a week to grieve because then I had to come move in, get ready for conditioning, and start focusing on that.
Go
again. It was go until the ending of my junior year, and that's when I really had to sit with myself because basketball was over, school was over, and it's like I don't have my best friend with me. I can't talk to her. I would go through these depressive episodes like randomly where I'd realize it would hit me like it could be like November, like Thanksgiving's coming up, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's gonna be the first Thanksgiving without her. Or oh my God, it's gonna be the first Christmas without her.
Wow.
Like, oh my God, I'm turning 21, and we used to talk about what I was gonna do, what we were gonna do when I was 21, and you didn't even get to see me turn 21. Like having those kinds of thoughts, and I'm like, it really hit me that I no longer had an anchor in anyone.
Okay.
And it forced me to find an anchor within myself. And that's when I was like, the joy and the fulfilling feeling that I feel helping people is the anchor.
Okay.
And I love seeing little kids happy. I love seeing them like talk and like asking me questions and like answering their questions and like having full on conversations with them. Like, yes. You know, and letting them know like the world really is yours. Like you can literally do anything you want. Yeah. And I always want my little cousins to know like you can do whatever you want in this world. If you decide that you want to be a freaking gymnast when you grow up, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna figure it out. You know, like, I just want them to follow their dreams because like as we get older, we lose a sense of youth.
Of course, we do.
And
then we have to refine it.
And you gotta find it again. Like I don't wanna. I feel like we don't have to. It don't gotta be like that. Like you could always be youthful, and you could always be happy, and you know so you're gonna have your down days, but like at least as a whole, like following your dreams is always gonna it's always gonna be that anchor for you. And I want the younger generations to be able to grow up and realize like there are no limitations to what I can do.
I love that. That's a really dope purpose.
Thank you.
And you better fulfill it, okay? I know you come from a Nicaraguan family, and if I said it wrong, I'm so sorry. Nicaraguan.
You wouldn't be the first, I promise.
I'm
Nicaraguan.
I was close.
Nicaraguan, yeah.
So, I know you come from a Nicaraguan family. What is the culture like? Like, I know not all Spanish cultures are the same. So, what is the culture like?
It's very vibrant. At least my parents are from two separate parts of the country. So my dad is from this place called Bluefield. Okay. And majority of everyone there is African ancestry, from African descent. Okay. My mother is from the capital, Managua, Nicaragua, where it's more Eurocentric. And so she's white. You know, we have she's very very prideful from where she comes from. Both my parents are. But where my dad is from is a lot more poor. A lot of people live in poverty there. And, you know, my mother's family, they're a little bit more stable than founded there. But when I used to go to Nicaragua a lot growing up, it was very vibrant. People are very prideful and you know, just filled with a lot of, like, the holidays there, they're so fun. Really? So we have, like, when I was growing up, we'll wear these, like, dresses with all of our, like, our patterns and traditions, and you know, it's just super prideful to like be able to wear it, and like up to the hairstyles and the colors of the makeup and stuff. Like it's really fun growing up there as a kid. I'd go back during the summer, but I think our culture is a little bit different from everyone else's within Central America and even the Caribbean. Okay. Just because we kind of have our own like influence, like our own flavor. Like it's easy to compare, you know, different parts of Mexico to each other. It's easy to compare El Salvador. Like we call El Salvadorians like our cousin because we're like neighbors. Right. Know? Okay. So they're like the closest to our culture. But as far as that, like our culture is very, very different than the Caribbean. The music is very, very different. There's so many different languages. Like my father's family speaks Mosquito, which is a small tribe in Nicaragua, and like Mosquito, yeah. So it's like I may be wrong, but it's like a mixture of like Creole, you know.
Oh,
so
okay, Creole and Spanish, like
Creole and
together.
Spanish together, yeah.
Okay.
So very broken, very broken down Spanish. My
Interesting.
great grandmother spoke it a lot growing up.
Okay.
She still speaks it now. She's still alive. She lives in North Miami Beach.
Okay.
And yeah, and then she told me a lot about the history of Nicaragua, especially with a lot of the Pacific Islanders coming to our country. So you'll see a lot of that influence in our culture as well. Like,
oh, interesting.
it's very diverse compared to other countries. They're very diverse.
Really? So is that what you would say is different between like Nicaragua and Puerto Rico?
Yes.
Is the diversity?
Yeah, and even then Puerto Rico is extremely diverse.
Yeah.
But it's just because of where they're technically located, we get a different culture, a cultural influence.
Okay.
So I would say like they're both extremely diverse, but in their own ways.
Okay.
Different cultural influences on both parts.
Okay. Now, what is your favorite thing about your culture?
So many. I would say, my grandma, she would laugh at this. I would definitely say it's just the language and like the way that they speak. Like the tone of voice that Nicaraguenses, they speak so like rough, like,
ooh, like gritty,
like very like confident in everything that they say, and they curse pretty much in every single sentence. Like they every single 3 words is a curse word in there.
Really?
But it's so funny, and it's so like it's actually like admiring to me, because like growing up, I didn't get the luxury of growing up around my family a lot, since I would go to Nicaragua a lot, and then I came back to the States during my school year, and I'm surrounded by a lot of Americans, so I don't get to speak my language. Mm-hmm. So I lost touch of it over the years, and it's just that I have like such a huge like spot in my heart with admiration of like the way that they speak, and like the confidence they speak, and like I would say a lot of, compared to the other countries that surround us, like you can't tell a Nica anything. Like they just they're know-it-alls. Like they know.
Oh Lord, they sound like Cubans.
Yeah. Well,
no offense.
Well, they're getting there. They're getting there.
I'm just saying, Cubans, in my experience, you can't tell them shit.
No,
okay?
You can't.
So, so do you plan on going back anytime soon, or when's the last time that you went there?
Yeah. So the last time I went there, I was actually like 12.
Okay.
So it's been over a decade.
In a Hispanic way, you're mixed. And I've heard you kind of talk a little bit about colorism within not only the Black culture, but also the Hispanic culture. So for you, like, do you think it's ever going to get fixed? Since you're talking about it,
yeah, it's like, I don't think it's a matter of fixing. I think it's a matter of just
mindset.
Yeah, and it's love. You know, like we aren't taught. Like I just said, my parents, they had to fight to survive. They don't have the luxury of catering to their mental health, because it's all about survival.
Yeah. And
you're stuck in this state of survival your whole life. Mm-hmm. When do you get to sit back and say, whoa, I'm actually safe.
Yeah.
I actually have the opportunity to live in peace.
Yeah.
Now that this younger generation, especially my generation, some of us do take advantage of the fact that we have the opportunity to cater to our mental health, because that's a blessing in itself. To be able to say, I got to cater time to my mental health is a blessing. Mm-hmm. Because the generations before us, it was about survival, and work. Yeah. And I know for sure I don't want to do that the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So, being able to help people step out of the ideal of survival and into the ideal of self-love, yeah, and spirituality and spiritual growth, yeah, whether it be religiously or spiritually, or it doesn't matter what your belief is. Mm-hmm. As long as you continue to work that faith in the universe and yourself, we can get to a point where, and I already know, like people say, oh, it's not gonna be all kumbaya. It's like you got to step out of that mindset that nothing's ever going to be okay, right? Because you're not okay. Right. Like just because you hate your life, or because your life is miserable, or because you see that there's this going on and this is going on, like every single issue that we face in this world, whether it be economics, political, social, or environmental, it's all human behavior. Mm-hmm. It's all based in the product of human behavior. True. So we have to change the way that we as humans think and interact with each other. Otherwise, these issues, they're never going to, get fixed. They're never going to
at
least get resolved or grow into something that can actually help each other.
Interesting. So what was it like for you growing up as a mixed baby?
I was, I got a lot of, I was really confused a lot of my time.
Yeah.
Just because like my dad being black and my mom being like white, or at least representing, it was, to me, that was normal because my whole family were all different colors, but to society, it was like, no, you got to pick a side.
Yes.
You can't be black and Hispanic, even though it's like we have large African ancestry in our culture. Or you can't be white if you speak Spanish, or you can't be like, it was always about labeling yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I was more confused with my skin tone than I was with my sexuality. Like me coming out as a lesbian was so much easier than it was for me to say I am from the product of an Afro-Latino household. And it's insane because growing up, all of my grandparents are black except for my mom's dad. The people who were black in my family hated themselves and hated everyone else who looked like them.
Yeah.
And, I'm growing up with that idea of my grandmother saying, oh, stop being outside too much or you're going to get black. You're going to get dark. You need to stop playing outside. You need to come inside or stuff like that. And I'm just like, what's wrong with me getting darker? Like I'm right. So now I'm like growing this like self-hate within myself because it's like, well, clearly if I'm getting in trouble for being outside because I'm going to get black, then being black is wrong. Right. And I'm light, right? I'm super light skinned now. But when I was a kid, like, I was a brown kid. Okay. And so I was treated a little bit different compared to, my lighter cousins on my father's side. Okay. And it's because they really like glamorize being white. Yeah. I mean, we have the whole idea of like perfecting the race in Hispanic culture. Right. And that's the goal, is to perfect the race.
I've heard that.
And, I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, perfect what race? Like, okay, like, can we just like care about things that actually matter, not what the color of my skin tone is or what the texture of my hair is? Like, I used to straighten my hair all the time. And now, like, I'm now like taking pride in my hair, and I'm like starting to like let it out more and like actually work on getting my curls back. Cause like my whole life I was just straightening my hair and straightening my hair and straightening my hair, or I put it up, or I didn't want to have it down, or whatever the case may be. Cause it was like, we have this like European beauty standard of what we're supposed to look like. Right. And I'm like, nah, like I am beautiful because I know I'm beautiful, because when I go out in the streets, everybody turns their heads, so I know I must look good.
Oh my God.
You're not gonna sit here and try to label me. But I'm playing. It's colorism is really big in Hispanic culture. And it is. We're slowly but surely starting to move out of that. Okay. It's definitely shifting, especially with my generation, for sure.
Okay. I love to hear that. Like I said, I'm very big on it too, because, I'm mixed as well. So I understand that struggle. I really do. So it's good to hear. Now, I know you're very big on mental health, and not to say mental issues, because I feel like they're two different things. Like, meaning like a mental disorder is different. Wellness. Wellness. Yes. Yeah. I know you're really big on that. And I know that you've been through a ton of hardships in your life already. Only being as young as you are, you've had to deal with a lot of things. What have you tried how do you overcome that to move forward? Like, what is the best way that you overcome those situations?
I think I had to learn things the hard way. Okay. Because since fighting and surviving is so normalized in my family, I figured that, any hardship, like when I lost my first love, or, when I almost died, I just kind of had to say, okay, it happens. We gotta get to work. Like I had to get surgery in my ankle after my car accident, when my first love passed away, and I was supposed to be on bed rest for a whole year. And not even 4 weeks later, I'm on YouTube searching how to take out stitches. and I'm like, I'm about to start my freshman year of high school. that means that I really got to take basketball serious. You know, like I got to fight to get a scholarship because who's going to pay for my school? Like that's my mentality. I got to get an education. Like I got to be successful because if not, like no one's going to do it for me. So that was my mentality, was go, 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 go. And then you crash or you hit a wall.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm so accustomed to surviving and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And then I hit an age when I actually got to college, and after my first week of sitting in, after first week of conditioning, really, I sat down in my dorm, and then that's when it finally hit me. I'm like, holy crap, I've been on go for the past 5 years. 5 years just going. You didn't even realize that you just achieved your dream. Like that was my dream as a kid, was going to college. Like that was something so intangible. The thought of it was unrealistic.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there in my dorm, and I'm like, you're living your dream. Like, you did it, dude. Like, you gotta live. Like, you gotta, like, you don't have to survive anymore.
Yes.
I was on a full scholarship. My housing's paid for. I have transportation. I got food covered. And it's like, when I was 12 or when I was 15 and I was coming out of that accident, and, like, my mom and I, we get kicked out of our apartment, we lose our home, and now we're homeless. We used to barely really eat. We had to choose if we're going to wash clothes or if we're going to eat. And sometimes she wouldn't eat just to make sure I would eat.
Yeah.
And then I would feel guilty, and I would split it in half so I can, my mom, because it sucked. And so I'm like, oh my God, like just 6 years ago, you were starving and homeless. Like,
wow.
Like you and your mom like had probably maybe 2 things in your cabinet before you got, evicted. And now you're sitting in a dorm with everything paid for.
Wow. Isn't that moment amazing though?
Yeah.
When you sit back and you actually feel that moment, like, oh my gosh, like this amount years ago, I was dealing with this, but look what I've built and come to.
Yeah.
Isn't that feeling amazing though?
I had to, and it's funny because I was forced to appreciate that moment. Because after the first week of conditioning, I'm sitting in my dorm and I'm like just laying on the floor. I'm like dead. I was right out of practice. And I'm trying to call my mom. My mom doesn't answer. I try to call my aunt Giselle. Giselle's not answering. I try to call, people I'm close to like let them know like I'm really emotional right now.
Yeah.
And in that moment, no one was picking up. And then I was kind of forced to experience that moment by myself.
Okay.
And I had to really sit with myself. And then I was like, it hurts because I really want to share this moment with someone. But yeah. I think my whole life, I'm always trying to share happiness with other people because I didn't experience a lot of it growing up. And I want people to feel the gratitude that I'm feeling. So they know like life really isn't that bad.
Yeah.
And,
it all leads to somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I had to force myself for once to actually take in a moment for myself and only for myself instead of always giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving like I always do.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh wow, it means that much more.
Yeah. That's crazy. So since you've been on this journey, what is the thing that you're hoping to go furthest on? And out of all the things that you're doing, what do you hope you can do forever?
Forever?
Because sorry, let me clarify. Yeah. You're doing fitness. You have fitness, right? You have sports administration, so you're trying to do things for sports. And then on top of that, you play basketball, or you're hoping to play basketball still, right? Yeah. And then there was another thing that you told, marketing or something like that,
yeah,
or a lawyer.
I wanted to go to school. Well, I ended up sticking with the sports administration because I originally wanted to do sports law, but I kind of found a way to create an agency without having to be a lawyer.
Okay.
So I don't have to go down that route and go through all that extra years of schooling.
Okay.
So I can create my sports agency where, especially now that we have these NIL deals and we're able to help kids now and pay them and actually do stuff and be more interactive with the community, I can create opportunities for kids outside of the country in, third world countries like Nicaragua and El Salvador and like other places like where they're not really being targeted, to play sports or to follow art, arts and entertainment. And I always say sports and arts and entertainment because they both go hand in hand. And a lot of people like to separate them, but like every day, every NBA game that you see, what do you have the guys coming down the tunnel doing? It's all about fashion. It's all about the outfits. It's all about what they're wearing. It's all about how they're dressed.
That's more influencing, though.
True, it is, but it's like they have the ability to creatively express themselves however they want.
Okay.
And a lot of those athletes aren't just athletes. They are also artists, and they are also in entertainment, and they are also creating opportunities for other people to be in arts entertainment, whether it's fashion, whether if you're, an actual a painter, if you're a writer, like those are all forms of expression, and sports are a form of expression, and it's seen as an art. And,
I would have never guessed that.
It's like,
or saw it that way.
Yeah, I mean, like for me playing basketball, like I said, it was it became my identity for a while until I was able to find like who I really was outside of basketball. But basketball, it was my therapist when I had a heartbreak, when I was missing my mom, whenever I was missing my aunt, whenever, I was feeling happy, whenever I wanted to hang out with my friends, when I could go on the basketball court and express myself.
Okay.
And do whatever move I wanted to do. I want to shoot from wherever spot. I can change my play style with my team. We can pretend that we're the dynasty of the Miami Heat. Like you could do anything. It's like we're expressing ourselves.
Imagination.
Use your imagination.
So is that what you hope that you go furthest with? Is the sports agency aspect of everything? Is that really like what you hope to progress, like to make it a career?
I think I'll be doing that for the rest of my life for sure.
Okay.
But I definitely love writing.
Okay.
That's always been like outside of basketball, like that's where I go. That's where all my thoughts are put on the paper, and I can really make a story with words that we use every day and we take for granted, and we don't realize how much impact we have with just a couple words that we can say.
Okay.
And how much impact we could have with the people around us. And in a way, like I like to use the idea of healing through words. So all of my book, I want it to be, a journey for everyone of finding themselves. And I always like say like my books, like everything that I've written, even my poems, like I go and I share at open mics, and that's like my favorite thing to do is to go to open mics.
Open mics, okay.
Yes, and perform my poetry. But I always say like when you're writing, like, and everyone has their own form of writing, but for me, my writing, I always feel like let this be something that you wish you could have said, wish you never said, wish things that you did say. It could be anything, and I want it to speak to everyone, because we're all human and we're all trying to figure this life stuff out.
Absolutely.
All of us.
Now, your writing, is it mainly just poetry, or like is that the form that you like to write in?
Yeah,
poetry.
It's normally like free form poetry. Sometimes I'll do a little bit more like foundational poetry, and like I'll even do haikus and stuff like that. But
I'm not a poetry. I'm a novelist. No, I'm playing, but poetry is probably something I lack in. But.
I love poetry, but I wrote when I was 20, like right after my aunt passed away. I ended up writing a full movie script.
Oh wow!
And that's something like I would be interested in like
eventually
doing in the future.
You should do one on your life. No lie, like your life is crazy in a good way. I mean that positively, but you should write one on your life. What do you feel like are 3 superpowers that you have? I
would say I'm very impeccable with my word. Like everything I say, I mean, and I believe that, following through with it, like words are very powerful.
They are.
And you can make you could change someone's life by the words that you say. You can you could trigger someone positively and negatively.
Absolutely.
You can hurt someone for the better. There's so many things you could do with, again, like with any power, use it for good or bad.
Absolutely.
But with words, I like to say that, I use them for the better.
Okay.
So I would definitely say I'm very impeccable with my word. I would say, and I've gotten this a lot recently, so I'll add this to my list, but I've been told that I'm pretty resilient, and before I would not really like see it, and like now
with all you've been through, yes,
I kind of take pride in it now. Like I take pride in resiliency and being able, kind of like like Superman, like no one can really impale my skin or my chest or my heart.
Okay.
The only person who has control over how I feel and the way that I live is myself.
Okay.
And lastly, I would definitely say my passion is another superpower.
Your passion.
My passion.
Okay.
My passion drives my resiliency and vice versa.
Okay.
So when I remind myself like what my purpose is,
yes,
I feel extremely empowered and I feel like unstoppable, like nothing can stop me. So being passionate in everything that I do and everything that I say and even in my writing and not being scared to be vulnerable, like that is like in itself like a part of my passion is the vulnerability.
It's a powerful tool. Okay, I love all three of those. And I can see all three of them too.
Thank you.
Look, I always enjoy really talking to you. I've always said that you're a special young lady.
Thank you. I love talking to you too. I really do.
And I'm so thankful that you always are willing to come and interview or, you know, just share your story with me and that you feel comfortable doing that. I hope everybody watching that you really enjoy Naeve because she's such a cool person. And I mean that like genuinely based on our conversations and as you heard her story, she's gone through so much. So if you want to continue to find out about Naeve and her journey and her story, I'll make sure that I include her IG and any other information that she provides me in the link so that you can follow her. But make sure you keep an eye out for her. I see big things coming, so make sure you watch. But thank you again for coming on the Juice Rise and Shine.
Oh yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, thank you so much. All right, bye guys.